You'd be happy with 100 if it got back by the end of December, wouldn't you?
Yeah, in fact, I think it was looking good, like you said, over the weekend, and then we got a decline, sorry. Maybe because the Bank of Japan looks hawkish.
Yeah.
But I don't think the 4-year cycle, I don't think the Bitcoin high is in place. But you're right, we were too optimistic about this happening by December, but I do think Bitcoin can make an all-time high by the end of January. So I don't think we should think the highs are in place for Bitcoin or Ethereum or crypto. So a lot of it's going to depend on equities recovering, which we expect it to, and that helps the animal spirits. And I think a new Fed chair will help. And we have, as Becky said, when people got worried about a hawkish Fed, that kind of hurts the discount models, the discounted cash flow models like AI models, but it hurts crypto models too. So if we have a dovish Fed, that's really a tailwind.
Experts and animal spirits. It's all you really need when you think about it. Like when I'm doing my economic forecast, I have to factor in animal spirits. Where are they? Are they in the market? Are they in the room with me right now? Are they going to help me? Are they going to hinder me? Do these animal spirits give me tailwinds or headwinds? But at the end of the day, don't worry about the market. What's going on with my jacket here? Don't worry about the market. Let me fix this. See, I updated my operating system. Always a bad move. Let's see here. There we go. And because it resets everything. Like, the cameras didn't work. Nothing hooked up. It's like, Apple, can you I'll do it. Just don't make my life a hardship after. I couldn't even get my password didn't work. I had to reboot the computer thrice. I don't got time for that. That's such a waste of my time. It was like an hour and a half of my day just trying to redo the stupid Apple infrastructure. Anyway, back to full-tron strength now. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy Coco. So here we are. We are, it's not bearish. I'm glad to say it's not bearish. We are in an uptrend. We got the MACD about to curl up, saying that there's a little more room in this leg up. We basically have been slowly, we dumped immediately yesterday, right? That's Monday morning. We take that sailor dump all the way down. And then we kind of fought back. Now, how far are we away from this 89.2-ish at this point? We are 1.5% away. It feels like we're a long time away, but it's only 1.5% away from our target of 89.2. Now, the Bitcoin shocker. 2 in the green, 1 in the red. Right? This is where we will see another broken cycle feather in our cap. Right? The first one is the all-time high before halving. Right? That was the first one. If we want to make a chart, broken, not broken. What is broken is the all-time high before the halving. And I say if, we close December under 93.9, we will have 2 in the green, 1 in the red, which is not what we have seen. This stupid chart doesn't go back far enough, but we have 3 here. 3 is just what we expect, right? And what we expect, we deserve. And what we deserve, we goddamn better get, right? We don't deserve anything. We're not guaranteed anything. This has just happened a couple times, and now we're just like, well, that's it. That's the law. It's Bitcoin's god-awful truth law, right? But that is, you can see, it kind of looks pretty blow-offy. Well, if one were to imagine a blow-offy top, it would kind of look like this. But all we have to do is, in 1 month with the Santa rally, save the tax harvesting that sometimes comes at the end of the year, the Q4. Let's just pretend that doesn't exist. We will have the market intact. So what would really put the cycle broken Bitcoin shocker to bed is if we do close above 93.6. 93.6 is what it is. And then there's nothing broken except for all-time high before the halving. And now that could have pulled the cycle back. Now the question you got to ask yourself is, it seems like it's the new dilemma of this bull run. Is the cycle broken? You know, when you listen to Tom Lee, the expert, you know, with his animal spirits and his goalpost moving, well, it's hard to tell what the guy's saying. But he's an expert, so you got to trust the experts. You know, coming from COVID, it's best to trust the experts. You know, they know what they're doing. Don't question it. Just trust it. But that's the question on everyone's mind. Is the cycle broken? I don't know. It's weird. If we have an all-time high in 2026, boom, cycle's broken. That's it. It's a simple answer. Now, if we have a 2 in the green, 1 in the red, yearly 12-month candle, is it broken? I guess, to a certain degree. Has it been broken since the all-time high before the halving? I guess, kind of. But, you know, we're not guaranteed anything. Nothing is guaranteed in this market, and it's always easier to bet what would the worst thing that could happen to the most amount of investors. That's generally what the market will do. It'll rain down hell on most people. That's why it's just, you know, every time I hear about impending doom in the crypto market, that's like, my first question to anyone is your exposure to Bitcoin on the exchange or in your cold storage? And if it's on the exchange, you're just part of the problem. You know, if we want this supply shock that we always are fantasizing about, the supply shocker that we're always fantasizing about, get your exposure off the exchange. If you're on the exchange, it's as good as being in a bank. It's almost like Bitcoinian hypocritical, right? Like, you can't be on the exchange and call yourself a Bitcoiner. Are we going to see 89.2 on this stream? Let's see. We're having a little bit of a pump here. It'd be nice. It's the doodle. I mean, it is the doodle. The doodle never lies, although as she broke down over the weekend, following her to a T, mind you, and then she broke down of the channel Ascension. Let's take a look at the daily here. We have broken out of this epic mother of all. Oh, don't do that. Oh, I see what's going on here. We have broken out. We're trying to tuck ourselves back in. It was just a momentary tuck out. Now it's a tuck back in. Can we get back in here? Now, in order to be hyper bullish, let's see if we were to break out of this channel today. Let's say we had, like, you know, one of the 12 days a year that we live for. The other 344 days of the year are complete pain. Utter pain and disappointment. But those 12 days, man, those 12 days where you can sit there like the royalty looking down. Those 12 days are what it's all about. And that would take us to 93.8. That would, okay, so that makes sense. So I have some correlations here. This 93.8 is basically the 2 in the green, 1 in the red, right? That would make 3 in the green, the Kit Kat, if it were. Yeah, that's what the kids call them. I don't know what this lingo is. And that would take us, how far are we from there if we were to fantasize? We are 6.5%. Now, calling a spade 6.5% pump really isn't that much, right? It's nothing to write home about. It's not even that exciting, but it would check a bunch of boxes as far as we're concerned with where we have to be, especially on the monthly candle. We want, well, let's game theory some of this out. Scumby 07. I see a lot of crypto bros saying this bull cycle is no different from previous ones. It seems to me completely different. We didn't have a bull cycle this time. Yes and no. I think it depends where we're looking at. Like, if you remember 2022 being at 15.5, and let's say your entire net worth is in Bitcoin. Well, it has been a bit of a bull cycle from 15.5, but when we compare it to all-time highs. As in, the 2021 69K blow-off top of, if it was a blow-off top, it really wasn't either. To now, it hasn't really been, especially adjusting for inflation. It's probably neutral. And this year is a down year, which doesn't bode well for all the Kager maxis, which I am a Kager maxi. So to me, everything, it comes down to the Kager. And if we see multiple years with down Kagers in Bitcoin, well, I mean, the math is the math, right? One thing that drives people into this hornet's nest of cyber hornets is the Kager, right? Historically, it's historically still up there. Now we had some down years. We have it every fourth year is a down year, and it kind of disturbs the Kager. Now, if we were to kind of game theory this out, are we going to move to a 2 in the green, 2 in the red, like a 50-50? So we're just like, none of this makes sense really, because we haven't really closed the candle. So we're now hypothecating, if it were, on things that doesn't really exist. But if we can suspend our belief and say that we do have a red monthly candle or a red yearly candle, this is a 12-month chart, then I couldn't put 1 year. I never look at the yearly chart. So I was like, 1 year, what the hell, not available? Oh, 12 months, I get it. Then would we have because it would gotta make sense. 2025, a down year. Imagine if this was the bear market all this time. We were in denial of the bear, like we always are. We're always in denial of the bear market, right? Until it's like so low, we can't really be in denial anymore. But it hasn't really gotten low enough to be in denial. Like we're in denial now. Like let's say we're in a bear market and we're just going to keep going down. Well, we're in denial. Everyone's in denial right now. Because our expectations and our dreams are somewhat shattered, right? So we're in denial. It's like it can't be over. It can't be over. God damn it! I didn't get what I needed out of this. So there's that. Right. So that is usually what leads to the denial. But it would be interesting if we, went 2 on, 1 off to a certain degree. But I always come back to the fact that the more predictable it is, the less it's going to happen. That's just not how markets work. I mean, it has for 2 cycles. And now a lot of it comes down to, overlaid cycles of business and money supply and whatnot, liquidity. However, during all that, Bitcoined. It's always going to do what it does. Scumbio 7's point was this year was not like 2021 or 2017. Yes, it sure wasn't. There was no euphoria outside of the Trump pump. I remember that. That's when a lot of people in my life started getting out, normies. Hey, what's going on with Bitcoin? Because they see it go from, 40 to 60. Back then, that's a big pump. If we were to go up 20 grand from here, we'd be at 108. It wouldn't wake the normies up. We'd be more excited. And because we'd be over the bull market, let's see where that is. The bull market rejection zone of 98.2, 98.3. So let me check something here on the monthly chart or the yearly chart. What do we have to be? 93, did I say? Yeah, 93.6-ish. Yeah, 93.6 is. So we wouldn't necessarily hit that bull market rejection zone. And if we have already hit it, maybe this is it. Maybe we, this was our relief rally and we got denied and now it's, smooth sailing. But part of the beauty of denial is that it gives us a little hope. It gives us a little hope that things might not be over. And for all we know, we live on the edge of time, right? So these cycles, these historical echoes of the market come and go, and they become like biblical dogma until they're broken, and then everyone forgets about it. right? Just like all these experts and their goalpostian predictions. You know, they're the hopium law that we hang our hats on until it's so far. Like, so for Tom Lee there, I think he was the $1 million caller, right? So $1 million. Now his video at the beginning of this video was, well, you'd be happy to get $100,000. You're like, well, I guess so. Yeah, it's a 10x deviation, mind you, but who's counting? Who's counting? From $1 million to $100,000, from $1 million to $100,000, right? And even $100,000, you know, you can almost see it playing out, that the compressed cycle, you know, especially this is what kind of is the monkey wrench in my scenario, is the midterms, because, you know, although Bitcoin, you know, people say Bitcoin isn't political, and you know, it is, because it still relies on the Fed and the Fed chair. And to me, that's Simpian economics. You know, when Bitcoin's price relies on this flawed system of economics, we're still really not out of the weeds. You know, it's like being in a toxic relationship. You can work on yourself, but if you're part of a toxic relationship, the whole ship is going to sink eventually. So when people say that this has to happen, the Fed needs to do this, and Trump has to put so-and-so into the Fed chair, and then we'll see what we really want. Well, we're just a bunch of kind of simpy economic traders, right? Well, if only this would happen, right? Bitcoin will take its time to do whatever it has to do. It's a real healing mechanism, you know, and I maybe in our flawed Keynesian walled garden, the disease is the cure, but maybe there's too many people enjoying the disease, I suppose, is what's happening when you have a political parasitic class that's enjoying the disease. Well, we like printing money. You do? Oh yeah, we really like it. And we'd appreciate it if it didn't stop. Oh, you don't want the money printer to go off? No, we really appreciate the money printer. It's given us generational wealth, you know, this money printer. So we really appreciate it. We might fight to our last breath to keep it printing, you know, because we really appreciate the money printer. When really the vast majority of the population is dying from the money printer. But this is how societies work, right? When you're on the bottom, you want justice. When you're on the top, you want peace. Right? And then when the people finally get justice and they're on top, they now want peace. They say, okay, we got to where we are here. Let's just hold it. Everything's good. Everything's copacetic now that we got what we want, right? Holy smokes, we got another Canadian in here. Devon 3. Over 100K or under 80K first. Cheers from Northern Alberta. Northern Alberta. I did live in Edmonton when I was in grade one. I went to Capilano Elementary School. I had to cross 50th Street. This is the funny part. Like, I was 6, right? And there was 50th Street. I believe it's 50th Street. Was like a 4-lane, pretty big highway. And then when you're 6, your mom and dad are just like, okay, you can, you know, go to school. Like, where? It's that direction, kind of. Yeah, you'll see it. Can't miss it. And if you do, I don't know. And so here there we were crossing these big streets, you know, going to school in grades. You just don't do that anymore. The school that Duke did go to, the public school, if it was me, I would have had to walk there. Right. But here I am driving them every day, you know, picking them up every day. That would have been a very normal kid walks to school, walks back type of movement. But now school's, you know, very close. He can walk. A little pushback from the 20 moving average here. 88.8. Oh, see, yeah, someone said what about those Asians in 88K? Yeah, well, they either sell or they buy. And now maybe if we can hit 88.8, we will see the bots take control. and start rocking and rolling. That's why all these numbers make sense. 20 moving average right at 88.8. That's where we got to kind of be. Will we get there today at 8:45? Usually we get that market dump, at 8:30, 8:45. It's not the funnest time of the day. I'm usually driving to the gym at that time, and I try not to look at the chart, although the 24/7 fire log chart I never knew how much I needed that, because usually most of the TVs in the house are on a fireplace. I even put a TV in my fireplace because it's like a non-working fireplace that had one of those stupid marble things that didn't even work. So I just put a 24-inch TV into the fireplace, and now it's just a fire 24/7. But now I can put my 24/7 4-hour chart fire into that TV. I get the fire, I get the chart. And it is saving me a lot of time on my phone, I must admit, because I don't have to sit there and look at the price incessantly all the time. Over on the weekly chart, oh yes, the mother of all bear flags right here. She's not pretty. Now, we can see how this would play out. This head and shoulders, let's make this smaller. Head and shoulders, pardon. This is how the bear market would really come into play. If we don't really have the runway for this if we're subscribing to, the normal cycle. We don't really have, this is the weekly chart. So do you think we're going to pump back to 97 and get rejected from the bull market rejection zone in February? You think we're going to get there? I don't see it. But if we do, we can see we get rejected at this rejection zone. And then on our way down to that 56K-ish thing that I got there. Yeah, bottom of the bear market. 29K? 56K-ish or 29K? Oh, yeah, we did put a 29K in there. That was based on this head and shoulders pattern, wasn't it? Let's see. I got all my deets wrong here. Oh, yeah, and it would be down there. That's right. With the breakout zone, boom, boom, boom. And then we'd back into there. Yeah, this little channel. Would we really see this old channel of descension creep into our market memory? Because that's really what it's all about, is market memory, right? We tend to cling to the past when it comes to price action. Where did it go? Okay, let's go there. Where do we want it to go? Okay, let's go there. Kelly McBride, the American government seized citizens' gold in 1933, and they are planning to do the same with Bitcoin. Yes, well, I wouldn't put it past them. That's why, like I said 10 minutes ago, if you have your exposure on exchange, well, be prepared to get ripped off. It's like having your money in a bank. Be prepared. I went over my things, that like I'm allotted for the privilege of keeping money in their bank. I'm allotted only so many moves, and I went over it, and they charged me $30. And it's like, there's a lot of things that I'd part with for $30 that I don't really care, right? A good ribeye, $30, pretty decent price. But when it comes to banking fees, I start to get very ornery, and it starts to hurt 10x when a stupid goddamn bank is charging me fees just to use the shit above my allotted privilege, right? It's so sad. It's so sad that it drives me crazy. But that's what it is. So I think moving forward, we are one fintech innovation away from annihilating banks. Now, part of the problem I have is, some of these, in order to get compensated from value you provide to the society, it has to run through a bank before it can go to an exchange. And, from your exchange, a lot of them are opening up into paying bills. We see it's moving there, right? You can make payments out of it, all your bills, your mortgage out of these exchanges. For instance, Bull Bitcoin, you can do that with that, pay all your bills, pay people, transfer stuff. So we are close. It's just a matter of them I believe that they don't fully want to become banks. Like they just don't want to become what they hate, right? And as soon as they can start doing that, so we're in a conundrum. You know, you need the use of a bank to legitimize the compensation you're given, right? And then that's the one hiccup. And then they ding you for it, $30. I'm like, that's a goddamn ribeye, you sons of bitches. E-money, why take when they could just ban exchanges? Okay, well, what am I reading here? Let's go with a wick first. Okay, let them try to figure out my keys to take my Bitcoin. Yeah, this is where I think some of these things happen. So, like I always say, if you have children, you have vulnerabilities, right? So, a lot of the hills that I would die on, I'm vulnerable with Duke. Because let's say I did have any exposure to Bitcoin. I don't, but let's say I did. We're going to hit 90, 80 or 90, 89.2, I think, on the stream. If I did and they wanted it, they would probably offer me a silver or lead type of deal. It's like, we need you to hand over your keys or else, we're going to take your kid or something. It sounds absurd, right? It's like, that'll never happen. I'm like, will it never happen? I hope it never happens, but you get my scenario here. When you have the vulnerabilities that they can put their knee on your neck on, like, so for instance, like those Korean people, like simple things like leniency. They'll let's go down a weird or dystopian highway, Chadwick. Let's say they do put Executive Order 6102, or let's call it 6121, right? And they demand all Bitcoin exposure be centralized into the Uncle Finkelsteinberg's IBIT ETF, for your safety and convenience, that is. And you say no. Well, the penalty to say no, or if you don't do it in a certain allotted time, is let's say a monetary fine or imprisonment. So at that point, when they start pinching the offer, like what you can do about it, they offer you leniency. Well, listen, you do have this $30,000 fine, and you don't want to spend 12 months in jail, do you? No, do you? Because no, you don't, right? Okay, so just hand over your keys. Hand over your key, and we'll get rid of that fine, and you won't do any time. You see how easy that is? Chadwick, we don't want to do this to you. We will. We don't want to do it to you. We will. We don't want to do it to you. So just give us your keys. And then maybe that's what happens, right? But there will be some sacrificial lambs if and when, now we're in a dystopian future, right? There will be sacrificial lambs. There'll probably be bigger use cases, but they got to mix in the normie, Chad. They got to mix in like the normal everyday guy getting trampled by this Executive Order 6121, because they can't let the normal free man get away with it. They need to be punished monetarily and time. And how ironic is it that when you save your time in Bitcoin, because that's really what it is, your time is you lost them, right? Well, you get straight to jail. You save your life's worth, the value you've provided to society in Bitcoin, so it doesn't lose its value. And then you end up, out of punishment, not listening to the tyrannical government, giving up time in a cage. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.